Long ago, in a small village near a dense green forest, lived a poor woodcutter named Raman. He was known by everyone in the village for being simple, hardworking, and most importantly, honest. Every morning, he went to the forest with his old axe to cut firewood, which he would then sell in the market to earn a few coins. That was how he managed to feed his family. Raman lived a humble life. His clothes were torn, his shoes were worn out, and his small house had just 2 rooms made of mud and straw. But despite all his poverty, Raman never complained. He believed that honesty and hard work were better than wealth gained through lies. One day, as the sun rose above the forest, Raman picked up his axe and set out to work as usual. The birds chirped cheerfully, and the cool morning breeze filled the air. Raman walked deep into the forest, humming a tune until he reached the bank of a sparkling river. The water was so clear that he could see the pebbles at the bottom. "This looks like a good place to cut wood," he said to himself. He took a deep breath, raised his axe, and began chopping the branches of a large tree. He worked for hours, resting now and then to wipe the sweat from his forehead. Then, as he was about to cut another branch, his axe slipped from his hand and fell into the river with a loud splash. Raman gasped and rushed to the bank, staring into the water. But the river was deep, and his axe was nowhere to be seen. "Oh no," he cried sadly. "That was my only axe. Without it, how will I earn my living?" He sat down on a rock, his face full of worry. The poor man had no money to buy another one. Raman prayed aloud, "Dear God, please help me. I cannot survive without my axe." Suddenly, as if by magic, the surface of the water began to sparkle. A beautiful fairy rose from the river, her gown shining like silver. She looked at Raman kindly and said, "Why are you so sad, good man?" Raman bowed respectfully and replied, "O kind fairy, my axe fell into the river. It is the only tool I have to earn my bread. Without it, I cannot work." The fairy smiled gently. "Do not worry," she said, "I will help you." She disappeared into the water and soon came up holding a golden axe. It shone so brightly that Raman had to cover his eyes. "Is this your axe?" the fairy asked. Raman looked at it and shook his head. "No, dear fairy, that is not mine. My axe was made of iron, old and dull. This one is beautiful, but it does not belong to me." The fairy smiled again and disappeared once more. This time she returned with a silver axe shining brightly in the sunlight. "Is this your axe?" she asked. Raman looked carefully and said, "No, that one is not mine either. Mine was an old, rusty iron axe." The fairy nodded and vanished again. After a few moments she came back holding a simple iron axe with a wooden handle. "Is this your axe?" she asked one last time. Raman's face lit up with joy. "Yes, that's my axe, thank you so much." The fairy was deeply impressed by his honesty. "You are a good and truthful man, Raman," she said. "I tested you, and you did not lie even though you could have kept the golden or silver axe. Because of your honesty, I will reward you." To Raman's surprise, the fairy handed him all 3 axes, the golden, the silver, and his own iron one. "Take these, my honest friend. Let your honesty bring you blessings." Raman was overjoyed. "Oh, thank you, kind fairy. I shall never forget your kindness." He bowed respectfully and returned to the village. The moment he entered, everyone gathered around him, amazed by the golden and silver axes. Raman told them the entire story, how he lost his axe, how the fairy appeared, and how he told the truth even when he could have easily lied. The villagers were astonished. Some praised him for his honesty, while others grew jealous. Among them was a greedy woodcutter named Kalu who thought, "If Raman got gold and silver for being honest, I'll get the same reward by pretending to be honest too." The next morning, Kalu went to the same river with his axe. He looked around to make sure no one was watching. Then he threw his axe into the river on purpose and began to cry loudly, "Oh no, my axe has fallen into the river. What shall I do?" Just like before, the fairy appeared and asked, "Why are you crying, good man?" Kalu pretended to be sad. "Oh, kind fairy, I dropped my axe into the river. Please help me find it." The fairy smiled and went into the water. She came up holding a golden axe and asked, "Is this your axe?" Kalu's eyes sparkled with greed. Without thinking twice, he shouted, "Yes, yes, that's my axe." The fairy frowned. "You are lying," she said sternly. "This golden axe is not yours. You are greedy and dishonest." With a wave of her hand, the golden axe disappeared, and so did Kalu's own iron axe. "You don't deserve any of them," she said, and vanished into the water. Kalu stood there, shocked and speechless. He had lost everything because of his greed and dishonesty. When he returned to the village and told his story, everyone laughed at his foolishness. Raman gently said, "You see, my friend, lies may bring short-term gain, but honesty always brings long-term reward." From that day on, Kalu realized his mistake and promised never to lie again. Raman, on the other hand, used his golden and silver axes wisely. He sold them and built a new house, but he continued to live humbly, helping others and teaching children that honesty is the best policy. Years passed, and people across many villages began to tell the story of the honest woodcutter who chose truth over temptation. Parents told the story to their children, teachers told it to their students, and soon it became a timeless tale reminding everyone that truth and honesty are worth more than gold or silver.